welcome back to a very primitive Christmas in New England.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how you decorated this year.
I am too, and for all of you that didn't join us last year, welcome this year. Just a quick bit of history. You're in the Hillsville School number 7, Spencer, Massachusetts. It's a big schoolhouse. Typically old schools were one room. This was 2 rooms, but this side is 8 rooms where we live. The total opposite side is 6 rooms, which is Primitive Thymes, my primitive shop. Many of you have visited. For those that didn't join us on the tour last year, welcome this year. We'll take you for a walk through the house.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see.
I am too. I hope everyone enjoys their walk. Maybe get some decorating ideas for your own home.
I'm sure they will, and you look beautiful today, may I just
thank you.
I love the Christmas sweater.
Thank you. I'm trying to be festive. You know, you only get about 30 days to wear this stuff and it's packed away again, so enjoy it.
You look beautiful.
'Tis the season.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
It is, so show us your decorating ideas.
Okay, well, every year the house looks different. I never know what it's going to look like until I'm done. It's like everything talks to you as I go through the totes and pull things out. So we're standing now in our living room, which is just decorated very old-fashioned, very comfortable, they're very warm, and all handmaids. The joys of having a shop. It's 1 for me, 3 for the shop.
Yes.
So, you end up with a lot of great things to work with from great artisans all over the country.
That's right.
And it's just, I just kind of, like I say, set it till I go. I was tweaking again this morning. I'll be probably tweaking on Christmas Eve, and then as you and I discussed, take it down a couple days later. But that's okay. That's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
And enjoying all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And this piece behind you, this little guy on the chair, his name is Oliver. A good friend of mine, who many of you know, Lana Testa, has been creating some of the most awesome primitive folk art creations for years. Lana and I, we've been friends for probably 40 years now. She and her husband Dave came to visit me over the weekend, and she brought that snowman as a gift. And I walked into the house with him, and I talked right out loud like I was losing my marbles, and I said, "You need a name," and he whispered in my ear, "Oliver."
Oliver.
So I introduce you to Oliver.
I love Oliver. And can I just say, I saw Lana this weekend and she told me she came over here and brought you a special present. Yes.
She did. She's a sweet, sweet gal.
Yeah.
Dear old friend. So that is Oliver, and he's got his place of honor now for the holiday season.
That's neat. And we toured Lana's home last year. She sent us a video and we had it on the
awesome. Yeah. Yes, we have been to visit her home, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, very, very creative, great, good old friend.
Great. Yeah. Well, I keep looking behind you, and I think that's where I want to start because this is just grabbing my eye.
Well, this actually is an old dry sink. This came from tannery circa 1800. In Cherry Valley, Massachusetts, which is a section of Leicester, the next town over. Wow. When I first bought the house, the tannery was going to be demolished, and anything that was left you were allowed to take out. So that piece was brought over here, numbered, put into that corner, and it looks just like it was made to be there.
It does.
I absolutely love it. I think it's because the houses were still in the same era that it fits in well. It's just a nice old time period piece. It's a piece that for every day and for all year long, I change it out all the time. It's always decorated different. I absolutely love the piece, and I love the history behind it.
So tell me, what color is this?
That is a sage green color. Benjamin Moore historic line. I love Benjamin Moore paints. I use a lot of their historic colors. I also like California paints. But that was one of their historic colors.
I love it.
It just blends in well. It blends in with the aging done on the walls, the stenciling done on the walls. And it's a good sized piece to decorate. I can decorate it seasonal. I can do it every day. It can be done very sparsely. It can be heavily decorated. It's one of those pieces that you can do whatever you want to it, and it always looks nice.
So come here and show us exactly how you decorated this. Where did you start?
I took some of my pieces off, some of my early pieces off, and put them away. And then I looked at the piece and I said, what do I want to leave up? I love barrels of all sizes, especially little ones, so I decided to keep that barrel right there. I left the 2 measures in the back because I like the height. I left this box and this box. Emptied them all out. And then I learned over the years, if I come in and set out my greens and my wreaths first, it sets the tone much easier for me to decide what I want to put where or how much decorating I want to do. And because I own the business too, which I'm very busy in year-round, but especially from fall through Christmas, I need to be able to do this relatively quick. Although this did take me 2 weeks, there's been times it's taken me 3-4 weeks. But I found that trick. It really, really helps to put all the greens out, put all the wreaths out first, put the trees up,
Okay.
and then it's a start.
Oh.
And it's just sometimes I don't pack all my antiques and everyday pieces away because I want those as focal points.
Okay.
So this year when I decided to keep pieces out, I just kept out some that I really, really love. This little piece, there's a mouse hole in it. There is a little stuffed mouse that fell inside. Due to lack of time, I haven't had time to pull him out yet. So he's poking his little head out the hole. He'll be back there again after New Year's. I hope.
Oh, he's sleeping.
He's sleeping right now. He said, I've had enough of all the festivities. I can't take it. I'll see you in 2023.
That is so great. So are these all faux
Yes.
greens?
Yes.
They look so real.
Don't they? Thank you. I'm very particular where I get the greens for the shop. I want them to look like they're real. I would prefer to decorate with the real greens, but I can't do it till the last minute. I grew up where my parents and us 4 kids went out and picked all the real greens. We would make wreaths, we would make centerpieces, we'd make garlands. So that's what our house was at Christmas.
Wow.
But they just don't last, and they dry out so quickly that I would just rather use the phone now and use all the real stuff outside.
Yeah.
But they do look real, and I like the mixing of the greens too, rather than just one particular green. There's 2 or 3 different style greens in here. The wreaths are different. Even this tiny tree and this tree, they're different. But it makes it look more realistic if you use different style greens instead of just having the same and do it that way. And it just changes it out. Some years I will do all the same greenery over here, but I just kind of like the mix.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing if you use real greens. You're going to get a mix anyway.
Yeah.
So this gives you the same principle. I love the little battery lights. I can light up all kinds of things in the house that normally I couldn't because I didn't have the plugs there.
Right.
And the battery lights are so tiny due to the way they're constructed, designed, that they just look like little fairy lights. So it's not as bright as what these electric lights would be,
Right.
but it still gives you that little twinkle of a fairy light and that little bit of magic at Christmas.
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
So do you... Do you know what I did this year for my white lights? I put them on a dimmer switch.
Oh, what a nice idea.
So I could dial them down because they were too bright for me.
Oh, I never thought of that.
I never did either, but yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next year. Oh, everything is so cute.
Thank you. And I have a combination in here of early pieces, reproduction pieces. You can mix the 2 of them. You don't have to have all early pieces. It just ends up what your taste is, what your preference is, and what you like. And don't be afraid to mix the 2 of them.
Right.
And see what you come up with. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You could really like it when you're through.
Yeah, that's true. Well, this
Absolutely.
corner is fetching.
Thank you.
That's clever too. This candle holder with
Isn't
the
that a
greens.
different piece?
It
A lot of the
is.
pieces that I have in here I've collected over the years done by tinsmiths.
Wow.
And unfortunately, most of the tinsmiths now are no longer tinning, except for a friend of mine in New Hampshire that's doing limited work, but his work is phenomenal. So these things I really treasure because you're not going to be able to get them again. They're like things of the past. Exactly.
Yeah.
There are craftspeople and artisans coming up.
Which is great.
Different generations that still love doing this.
Yeah.
Some of them love to do it to sell for shops like mine, so thankfully that I'm very blessed I can still get a lot of things. Others like to do it just as a hobby.
Okay, yep.
So, pieces like this and these different tin pieces and wooden pieces, I just treasure these because I won't be able to get them again.
Right. Okay, so what else are you going to show us? I know that over here, we talked about this last year, but I think we should talk about it again. This place where you hide your TV.
Well, that's exactly what that is. A good friend of ours made that many years ago for us. And the nice thing about it is when it was designed, the television is behind the cupboard door. When that's closed all the way, there's a lip built around it. So the door doesn't touch your television, so it's also a small seat.
Oh.
You don't have to worry about somebody running up against it. You know, the grandchild or the children, the dog jumps on it. It's fine. It's not going to touch the television.
Right.
So it makes it a nice piece, and it's just a pretty piece. It's not too big. It's just tucked in the corner.
Yeah.
It's not very wide. The bottom of it has 2 shelves in it. We have our CD player in there. You can configure the shelves however you want in the bottom. These pieces would be custom made depending on the size of your television, to make a model of the television. But it's just such a very unique, very different way
Yes.
to hide a television.
Yes.
And so many of us in primitive homes want everything hidden.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We want to forget that we're in
Exactly.
today's life.
Exactly,
We want to go
yep.
back in time. This looks really great too, your lantern up
That's
here.
a lantern that my husband made.
Beautiful.
And he made a lot of those for the shop. They were very popular, sold very well because they could go inside, but they could also go outside.
Yeah.
You could put the nice large candle in it. Some of those are Judy Condon candles that are in there. So it's nice because they're on remote controls.
Uh-huh.
So you just click the remote, your candle is off if you wanted to hang your lantern up higher. But it's just a nice, plain, simple piece.
Wow.
He didn't do anything fancy with the coloring on it because we wanted it something that would just blend in all primitive or early American farmhouse homes.
Yes.
And that color and style just blends in beautifully inside and out. And it's also like the perfect size to do a lot with. It's great in the house, but it's also perfect on a shepherd hook at a garden outside.
Sure is. Wow. Oh, so talk to me about more of your decorating.
Well, my collection of crocks, I have crocks in every room in the house, from the bathroom to the bedroom and everywhere else. Wrought iron pieces from a blacksmith in Kansas that has not been making things for years, but I used to sell a lot of their line in the shop. The stuff was absolutely gorgeous and very unique. And again, one-of-a-kind pieces because there is no one coming up to do this on the large scale that you used to see years ago. And a lot of this is just handmade decoration stockings that I've augmented with just that little bit of green. You know, the linen bags that were handmade for me, linen towels, and I've layered the look. I like to do a lot of layering with things. It gives us some depth and dimension. It also gives me a chance to put more things up. Otherwise, I could have to put just one here. Now I can put 3 or 4 things. So layering can be a good thing.
Yes, yes.
Very good thing.
But it looks so pretty too, this layered over this.
You know,
this
it's
set of
just
throw.
enough.
And, yeah.
And it's just enough, and
Yeah.
the teeny bit of red on it just puts that little bit of pop of color.
Yeah.
But it still keeps it very simple, very primitive, very old-fashioned.
Beautiful.
And I just tuck little bits of greens everywhere. As you see here, I stand wreaths up. I don't always lie them down on a table. I will stand them in boxes. It just gives it the Christmas green look, but you're pulling up a little bit of height
Right.
to an item that's typically small, or even in larger boxes you can do it.
Right.
And I love using the battery candles everywhere. I just love the sparkle, and it's beautiful in daylight, but at night it's magical.
Yes.
It's so pretty. So I have candles in every room of my home. They are all over. As Amazon will tell you with my battery deliveries. God bless Amazon.
Oh, I haven't thought about ordering Amazon batteries.
They're here in 24, 48 hours.
Oh my, I'm usually running to Walmart.
Well, I always used to go to BJ's.
Yeah.
I thought they were least expensive. They were very good battery.
Right.
I started buying through Amazon, and I get the Amazon brand, and I don't have to spend $5 a gallon for gas now.
Oh.
I don't have to waste valuable time.
Oh.
And they're here in 24, 48
And
hours.
do they work well?
They work very, very well.
Oh, well, that is a great tip that I'm going to take.
Yeah, very, very well. 'Cause
Okay.
as you walk through the house, you'll see my life lives on batteries.
Okay.
You're
Wow.
just everywhere.
Wow. Oh, this is just so cute.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Oh,
It's a
I
labor of
do.
love for sure.
Oh, it is, and so I'm so glad you're sharing it with us because, it's a shame to decorate and have hardly anyone see it.
Exactly. And we used to do candlelight house tours here every Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
And with COVID, we had to stop doing them.
Yeah.
And then we stopped. We didn't do it last year because COVID numbers were still funky. I was going to get back to it this year, and we got a dog 2 years ago. Abe was the love of our life, our pandemic baby. We got her the day before New Year's Eve, 2020, and she's a rescue dog. And she's come so far, but she's still so afraid of so many things and people. And she knows the distinct difference between this side of the house where she lives and the shop side. And I didn't want her to get so scared with people coming through the house for 2 days, even though they wouldn't have done anything deliberately to her.
Right.
It's just her fear.
Right.
She's come so far, I didn't want her to go back downhill. So I
Yeah.
want to give her another year under her belt. So maybe next year I can get back to it again.
Wow, what a
We'll
great
see.
idea.
We'll
Fingers crossed.
We'll see, yeah, because so
Wow.
many people enjoyed it, and I really enjoy seeing so many people, and it's really pretty cool.
It is. It is. I like how you did this garland up here, too.
Oh, I did many years. For some years I've done garland with the lights coming down the railing and all over here.
Uh-huh.
And this year I said, I think I'm just going to do the garland, but I wanted a garland that didn't have a lot of wire in it.
Yeah.
Something that just draped. And I found these, and they just hang beautifully.
Wow.
And they look real, and they look beautiful even without the lights in them.
Yeah.
And I put up the artificial mistletoe this year, and I told my husband the day I put it up, mistletoe was there, and there it sits. I love this. This, when we first moved into it, when I first moved in here, I made this a dining room. It stayed a dining room. I never liked it. It was cramped. It was cluttered. But I didn't think to move it to another room. I'd work all day, I'd come home, I'd be doing other things, getting for shop weekends, and I think it was shortly after Rich retired, one Saturday night about 10 o'clock, he said, "I want to change around the dining room," and I thought, 10 o'clock, a Saturday night, he wants to move furniture, let's go.
Yeah,
So we
right.
did. And I went with his entire idea, took everything out of here, moved it into now the dining room. The flow is perfect.
Wow.
I love it so much better. I don't feel cramped. Every time I sit down to have a meal there, or even just a cup of coffee, I'm comfortable. And I was never comfortable in this room. But like I said, working all the time, you just forget about it.
Yeah.
And so I decided I would make this the sitting room end of the living room.
Okay.
I can sit down here, I can read magazines. This is, the living room is the only room that does not have overhead handmade chandeliers in it, so the lighting is better down here. Primitive lighting is great, but you can't see by it. But it's very soothing. So
Yeah.
I sit here, read magazines. I have a row cooking group that I've been together with for well over 20 years. We get together once a month and everyone else is home. When they come here, girls sit here, they sit in the living room, they'll sit in the stairs, wherever they're comfortable. So it gets a fair amount of use, and it's a nice extension of the living room.
Yeah.
And the rooms open to each other anyway, so it kind of, one section mirrors the other.
Okay.
So it's, for the purpose it turned into, it worked out beautifully. So thank goodness that Rich said, let's move this at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. We worked until about 1 o'clock,
Thank goodness.
and it worked.
Yes.
It worked, and it's the same way it's been since he decided to move it. So,
Wow.
and this is a very old wash tub. A friend of mine had this, and she wanted to sell it, so I bought it with the intent of putting it in the shop. And she brought it up here, and I anticipated a piece much smaller. And I looked at it and I said, oh my gosh, I can't sell that in the shop right now. So reproduction piece.
Okay.
But I love it. It's not too big. It's not too small. Again, it's a piece that I can load up with a lot of decorative pieces. I can do it very simple. Sometimes I'll close the bottom door. Now I've got it open for the holidays so I can tuck greens in it. There's just so many different things you can do with decorating. A lot of it is just your own imagination. A lot of it is just seeing ideas. You know, whether it's there's wonderful ideas that come off of your YouTube channel. It's been amazing. The girls that I've told about it, they've come back and said that they love what they see on the channel. So it's really, it's not only relaxing, but it's helpful. And you walk around, decorate your own house, and you make it look different, and you did it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just, it can be very therapeutic.
Very therapeutic.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
can
what
be.
I'd have without decorating. Yeah.
It's good medicine.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. When I say I'm putzing, you know, and I putz around the house and just move things around, so good for the soul.
Exactly. Right,
Yeah.
it is. You go at your own speed, your
Yeah.
own pace, you do what you want, you tweak it 50 times if you want to,
Yeah.
and then you're done, and but it's something you know you did in your own home and
That's
you enjoyed
right.
it.
That's right.
Yeah. Couch here in the corner is another piece that came out of the tannery in Cherry Valley. And again, it was brought back here. It was just numbered, put into that corner, and it just looks like it was meant to be here. So I painted that the same color as the dry sink in the living room, just to kind of blend the two of them together.
Yeah. It does look like it was meant to be.
It does, and I really attribute that to the fact that this house and the tannery were the early to mid 1800s, so the time period and design-wise worked well. And it's just a nice piece to do so much with.
Your collection of redware with the greens is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the redware and the pottery.
Yeah.
And I like the very simple pieces. I don't like it very decorative, very ornate. I think you get too decorative, although it's beautiful, and I've seen a lot of it, it takes it out of the primitive, very old-fashioned design that I like.
That's so true. That there is such a fine line there.
There's a very fine line, yes. And again, with the wreaths just put into the buckets, it's just an idea of just tucking the wreath in as opposed to putting the wreath down in a bowl on a table, and it just fills the bucket. It gives you that little bit of greenery or Christmas.
Wow.
It just it finishes off, but in a very simple, old-fashioned fashion.
Oh, and this looks so cute. I mean, who would think? You probably had this sitting here with the bowls and this little scoop, and you
Yes.
just tuck a couple greens in.
Yeah, and put it on a wall. Most people, when they have those, they've told me that, my gosh, I display that on a table. I never thought to hang it. And by hanging that, it just gives it a whole different look, a whole different purpose.
Actually, I have something similar to that I could hang in my house now that I think about
There
it.
you go, see?
Oh my goodness, you just gave me
It's
a great
just
idea.
something simple to do. You're just kind of looking around and walking with things in your hand and saying, can I hang this on the wall?
Yes.
I've done so many things in this home that are hanging on the wall that typically would be used on a table.
Yeah.
And I had hooks put on the back, hung them up, and it looks perfect. It gives it a whole different look.
Well, and who has all that much table space, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially now, a lot of gals are downsizing.
Yes.
They've lost not only table space, they've lost wall space. So where they used to have all these tables and dry sinks and all kinds of things, dough boxes that they could put things on,
Right.
now they could hang something on the wall, especially if it's a favorite piece that they really want to keep in the home.
Yeah.
And just give it a different purpose.
It's a great idea.
Yep, thank you.
It's a great idea. But speaking of tables, here's a beautiful one.
This is a dough box from 1820. Came from the antique dealer in Vermont. One of the nice things about it, if I wanted to use it for storage, the top just lifts right off. It's a perfect height for a coffee table. You can sit in front of it if you want to have that cup of tea, that cold drink there. It's a perfect height. And it's not too big, it's not too small. It's just a really, really, really neat style piece.
Well,
I have a lot of favorites in my house, and that's right up there with them.
And I love the way your what do we call it, a settee looks just so, I don't know, it looks like inviting, like everybody's been sitting in it and just a family. It looks family-ish and cozy and wonderful.
It's just one of those very old pieces.
Yeah.
The rope sofa.
Yeah.
It's got the rope bottom in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big piece,
Mm-mm.
but it is a comfortable piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like it simple with the pillows. Sometimes I'll set a Santa Claus there at Christmas or a snowman. This year, as I say every year, it's different. This year I chose just to do a Christmas pillow there and leave the other two pillows and just do a little more decorative behind it. A little touch of red with the linen stockings, the little red Santa behind it with the greens, and just touch it up for the holidays that way. With just the greens and a little bit of red, just to keep it simple. This is a beautiful family heirloom weaver's piece who's no longer in business, but it gives it that touch of color for the holidays, and their pieces are just so beautiful. You just, they're so nice to enjoy.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Every single, it's just a vignette every single place I look, a beautiful vignette.
I love decorating. I always have. I get a lot of enjoyment on it. I enjoy it more now that I've been retired for so long.
Okay.
I realized when I was working, I thought I enjoyed my home, but I was only passing through.
Oh.
Now that I'm retired, I can enjoy it more. I can do more. It's hard to move around a lot of things because these rooms look big because they open to each other. But when you stand in the middle of it and look around, they're small rooms.
Right.
But I can still do a lot of things, just moving a little chair or things here and there.
Right.
And
Right.
this piece on the wall that you were just looking at, this cover, it's another piece from the tannery.
Wow.
It's the color that was on it, all original. I didn't want to touch any of the color. There is not a backing put on that, typical to things being done in the 1800s, because they were doing with what they had. Wood was scarce, of course, especially back then. Finances were scarce. They made do. There wasn't a need, if it was going on the wall, to waste wood, putting it back on it. So you'll see a lot of very old, early pieces, as well as reproductions that don't have a back on it, and that's the reason behind it.
Wow.
But even though there's not a back on it, it still looks nice with doors open.
Yes.
Because all you're seeing is the back of your wall is your backdrop.
And your wall's beautiful. So.
Thank you. I love the color and the patina on that.
Yes.
There's just no way I was going to ever touch that.
No.
And that's been a piece through the years in the shop that we've shown to people if they have their television on a wall and they want a TV cupboard. That's been a design we've given them to use for a TV cupboard, and then it's just drawn out and made up to the specifications of their television.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's very perfect. Yeah.
Wow. And what about this chair?
That's a settle bench that we had a gentleman that used to make gorgeous furniture for us. He stopped doing it many years ago. That's one of his pieces that he made. It's a single settle bench. I love the shape, the color, the size. What I like about the most is that can be set up in any room of your house. And you can decorate it differently depending on the room it's in. It's a serviceable piece of furniture that you can sit on. But it's just that nice, neat little piece. It's got the little drawer on the bottom. If you use it as a reading chair, you can put your books, your magazines in there, still have room there. It's just an awesome, awesome piece. He did some of the most beautiful work. He made bedroom sets for us. He made all kinds of large pieces of furniture. He used to make furniture many years for Ethan Allen Furniture.
Oh, wow.
Before he started going off on his own and making primitive pieces. So he really, not only did he know the quality and the design, he also knew that primitive is an actual design.
Yes.
So many people think the word primitive just means, well, I made it with some wood,
Right.
or I just painted it ochre color, but it's not. It's an actual design, and it's a look. And a lot of people, many people do understand that.
Yeah.
But this was a gentleman that he had everything in one package.
Beautiful.
I so miss his work.
Oh.
And he and my husband became friends over the years, so they got to make pieces together, so that was pretty cool too for the two of them.
That's so great. Man. And then, of course, you've got your buttery. We
Oh.
we have told so many people about that. Use a
So have I,
closet.
and so many have sent me pictures that they've done just what I did. This used to be your typical junk closet, which if we don't have a junk closet, we have junk drawers.
Yeah, that's right.
And I finally said one day, I don't want this anymore. I want everything out of there. So I took everything out, most of which I threw away. And I had a gentleman come over, put all old wood in there, built in the buttery. And so many people think I'd love a buttery, but I don't have room to make a whole room. You don't need a whole room.
No.
Just one little section, one little area. And then just set it up and decorate it how you think or how you want buttery to look in your home. And it's just worked out beautifully, and I think it finishes off this corner of the room as opposed to just seeing a closed door
Yes.
that really didn't have any purpose except if I didn't know where to put it, I opened the door and I threw it in. And there it stayed for many years. Now, every time I walk by this room, I absolutely love it.
Oh, I do too.
It's just another area. You can change it, you can decorate it seasonally, you can make it very sparse. Whatever your taste is and whatever your decorative ideas are, just go with it.
It's amazing, Karen.
I love it, and just a little closet.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Isn't it? It is. It's the cutest thing, and so many people now realize I don't need to have a whole room. I can do this.
That's right.
And they've done it. They've sent me pictures. They've come back in the shop with the pictures. They said, look what we did. They said, we love it.